So, what happens in PTSD? And I'm really excited about this video because I think there's so much information that's going to help us understand PTSD and with it be able to do something about it. So, without any further ado, the most important thing about this involves PTSD and memory. And the takeaway line is memory in PTSD is very, very different from the way that memory operates normally. What usually happens in memory is we have the time and the space, and most importantly the security, to be able to pay attention and concentration on the information we're receiving. If these factors are in place, then we're able to process the information which we're taking in. And what seems to be the important part of processing is that we add a time tag to that information. That time tag then is stored in our memory or simply forgotten. There's a lot of information there, so let's break this down with a diagram. And what I've tried to represent as our perception, the things we see, the things we hear, the things we smell, is with that eye at the top of the diagram. And I'm going to say more about parts of the brain later, but above that eye I've got the word cortex. And that's the evolved, modern, human brain, and that's where we're seeing things from. So we've got the security for our human brain, our evolved brain, our cortex to be working, and that's going to do the processing. And so it's offering, with the safety it feels, that large perceptual arc with which it's then receiving that information. Information comes in, it's seen, a time tag is offered to it. That's why I've got the date there then. And that time tag then moves into memory, or, as we do with lots of stuff, it's simply forgotten. This is what happens when memory is working normally, usually. So let's experiment with this and bring to mind any non-trauma memory. There's stuff that most of us remember, be it our first day at school, or the first day in our job, or the first time that we moved into a flat on our own or with a partner, our first child and their birth. Whatever it might be, bring that to mind as a non-trauma memory. And usually, most people would say that there's something about that memory that feels like it's in the past. And that is the time tag in action. So it actually feels like it's there, it feels like it's being processed, it feels like it's in the past. Now, trauma memory is very different from this. And in a trauma, in a situation where our life is threatened or the life around us is threatened, the animal brain takes over. And one of the things that our animal brain does is sharpen our perception, is focus the things we're seeing, listening to, concentrating on, to the most vital things, like the threats, the exits, or just whatever makes a situation more bearable. Now, because it does that, we can only have a time tag with those things that we've paid attention to. Yet there's plenty of other things in that situation, and those other things don't get a time tag. Let's put this to diagram again. So we've got our eye up there representing perception, representing those things that we're concentrating on. And as the animal brain has taken over, it's now narrowed. And it's paid attention and given that time tag to those things which are most vital in that situation. Other information passes through without that time tag. And this is what flashbacks, nightmares, trauma nightmares, or intrusive memories which feel like we're back there are. They're the remembering of a memory without a time tag. And when we remember them, the animal brain activates again. It thinks it's happening all over again. It does what it's meant to, which is generate lots of agitation, generate a fight and flight response to help get us out of it. That is a deeply bodily memory, and so with it other senses activate. Smells might be present, sights might be present, hearing might be present. So this is the really vital thing about what happens with these re-experiencing symptoms in trauma.